All right, welcome. I'm going to do my review of Resident Evil Requiem, but I wanted to do it a little bit differently. I am going to play through the game on insanity mode for the first time and kind of give my thoughts on the game while I play through that. Now, we are going to be using a bunch of guns with unlimited ammo and shit because I am a coward. And let's dive right in with the incredibly riveting introductory section of the game as we walk through the streets. Highlighting here the attention to detail that particularly stands out in the opening hours of the game, especially in Act 1. And our favorite modern gaming trope, follow the yellow tape. Right here, beautiful lighting. Like, I mean, that's like the set piece of look at our freaking lighting system. Again, I can't say enough good things about the lighting system of the RE engine. Really, the entire first half of the game is just a graphic showcase of like, here is how good this RE engine is. When you design a game that ultimately can be beaten, even on a first playthrough, about 12 hours to complete the game, I do question the decision to have moments like this early on where it's like, when you want to replay a game that's 12 hours long, you get tired of redoing these segments. Open my notebook. This segment here represents what the RE3 remake should have been. Sadly, it wasn't. We come to what a lot of people consider to be the actual start of the game, where we have to avoid the woman or the girl, get the fuse and get out of here. It's a good time to talk about stalker enemies in general when it comes to the modern RE engine Resident Evil titles. So with the RE2 remake, obviously Mr. X becomes a much more prominent figure in the game. RE3 remake, of course, you have the Nemesis, and then RE7, you have stalker enemies. Even in Village, the beginnings of the game with like the castle and even like House Dimitrescu, you have these persistent stalker enemies that cannot be easily defeated. You basically just have to avoid them until the game tells you, okay, now you can actually fight it. And we have the same thing here. Early on, you have the girl, you have things like Chunk. I think that the design is overall cool. I'm not a huge fan of the Chunk design since he's more of just like a kind of like an annoying obstacle, but I think like things like that are cool. My only issue, and it's a small one, with the stalker enemies is that it just feels a little bit played out at this point. Every single game we have a stalker enemy to contest with. In small bursts, I like the stalker enemies, but too much of them, it just becomes more of an annoyance to me rather than like exciting gameplay, if that makes sense. So I love these segments in the game where they let you exact your revenge on the bad guys a bit here. As Leon, it really helps to emphasize the differences in design between Grace's segments, which are much more horror focused and they're slower paced, and then the Leon segments, which is much more action oriented. And I liked these little teaser moments they included in Act 1 to let the player really feel that difference between Grace as a character and Leon in terms of their capability. Now that we're here in the main hall, this is the biggest selling point of the game for me. I think that overall, the Rhodes Chronic Care Center is a perfect textbook Resident Evil set piece location. I think it's the most well-designed, the most well-executed, well-realized segment of the game. When you play through the game and you get to the latter sections of the game, Act 2 and then into Arc, if you compare them to this segment of the game, it becomes all the more evident at just, this was their big shining moment. And by they, I mean Capcom, where it's like, oh, this is where all of the resources, all of the time, this segment of the game has to be done well. And it reminds me a lot of ways of Castle Dimitrescu in RE Village, where all of the marketing spotlight, all of the press, the teasers focused on that segment of the game. And there's multiple reasons for that, right? Especially in the case of this game, this is the beginning of the game. So you don't want to spoil anything that happens later on, especially because they wanted to keep Leon hush hush. But I can't say enough good things about, I love this freaking environment. The design, the attention to detail, like even this like room is so cool. Now, while we're here, I want to talk about the music, just because we're in a save room. And let me jack this up. So we can hear it, right? It's very RE7-y in my opinion. It sounds almost like a B-side to like a Resident Evil 7, but this is not really a complaint. It's more of a wish list for Capcom. I wish Capcom, whenever you do Resident Evil 10, try to find a balance between the music prominence from the original games and then this new super atmospheric ambient style of sound design. The sound design's fine, but the music itself, I just wish that Capcom would bring music a little bit back to the forefront, give us some of those classic, memorable, melody-driven tracks. If you think about like a Resident Evil 2 original, if I showed you a picture of the library, we can hear the music that's playing in that room. It's so memorable. And ironically, when you get to the RPD station in this game, and they do bring back some of the old themes from original Resident Evil 2, they're done in a way that to me sounded better than the RE2 remake did, where it was like this pretty good balance between the music being very forward in the mix and you can hear it, and then parts of it are kind of ambient. It kind of like drifts in and out. That almost felt to me like that is the perfect marriage of music, and I would just love if Capcom went with a lot more of that for RE10. This is another one of like the reasons why this section of the game is just so good. First of all, the freaking lighting, everything in this room, the visuals, and the fact that every enemy within this building, I'm pretty sure is like a unique character model, is just like, it's so cool. Like everything about this level, the Rhodes level, it's like if a retired Michelin star chef, he's just at home in his kitchen and he's making ravioli by hand, right? And then the whole rest of the game after Rhodes is like, you DoorDashed really good pizza, right? It's still really good pizza, but it's pizza. This just feels so crafted and loved. So here's another really good example. Like a room like this is just mwah. The attention to detail, the storytelling of all the people just like gorging themselves on the food. We have again all of these unique character models in here. Beautiful lighting. Let's look at the environment. Got this lady up here. I love like the storytelling behind her. She just eats that, doesn't even care. Okay, the first puzzle box. Let's talk about the puzzles a little bit. I think overall they're fine, but there's nothing really like the biggest like puzzle in the game, in my opinion, is the underground section with Grace, where you have to kind of figure out how you navigate this underground environment by like adding and removing these fuses to unlock and power certain areas, and the goal was to collect all the fuses. Like that to me felt like the most living, breathing puzzle in the game. Everything else, I think it's all very fine, but everything feels so straightforward, where it's like, here's a safe, copy paste throughout the game, and then just find the piece of paper with the code written on it. It's fine. It just feels a little by the books, by the numbers, if you will. Same thing with like all these kind of puzzle boxes. Now these are at least kind of cool. I like that for each of the puzzles you have to find the solution at least in different ways. For this one you have to find the pencil, then you scratch the paper to get the code. I think that's kind of cool. And then later on you have to look at the two photographs and like pieces of the code are in that. So those are fine. I just think that maybe bring something back like the water puzzle in RE3 or something where you really have to think through it. Maybe not that convoluted, but overall the puzzles in the game felt a little underwhelming, I would say. And especially like when you get to the Leon segment where there's hardly any puzzles. This boss fight here in the attic overall is pretty cool. I was a fan of that, and I like that the game covered their own asses by putting the note up here where it's like, oh yeah, they were actually brothers that were both really fat. Just in case the player kills the first one as Grace, you'd still have a boss fight up here. Just one of those sections of an RE game where you're like, every time you replay the game, you're like, oh shit, I gotta do this part again. I will say this, it's frightening. It's anxiety inducing. I don't know, man. It's one of those segments of the game where I don't look forward to doing it, if that makes sense. Similar to like the boat segment in Resident Evil 7 brings back the girl, except she's much more frightening in this environment due to the complexity of it, I think. That, and of course the amount of time that you spend navigating, backtracking, doing this puzzle And as I said, I feel like to me this might be the biggest puzzle in the game, unless you count, of course, the freaking severed hand doll puzzle, which is the most convoluted, insane thing I've ever heard. I don't even know how a human being organically discovers the solution to that. I don't know if that's like something that like Capcom trickles out, like, hey, here's how you do this. But outside of that, this is one of the bigger puzzles in the game. Gotta love these long, repeatable crawling segments, don't we? Ooh, look, I'm back in a crawling tunnel again. Except this time there's a rat. This room is a pretty good representation of just things I don't like having to do in a video game. Now this segment here, this is pretty cool. This is very reminiscent of something you'd see in like RE5 or RE4. I think it's kind of cool. Here's what I will say. I thought initially when we dropped in here, this is where you would have to fight the girl, where it's just this claustrophobic battle arena with you and her, and then maybe they keep these enemies, maybe they don't. That might be a little bit much, but beautiful lighting. I love the red. Let's talk about Emily real quick while we're in this elevator with her. Really interesting character that they chose to include her and then ultimately just kill her pretty quickly. And here we close out. We say goodbye to the best part of the game. The Michelin chef in his home kitchen making ravioli by hand. Let's take one last look. I mean, come on. Even this, dude, give me a whole courtyard segment. Put a hedge maze back here with annoying dog enemies. Something. Here's another character that we have for about 2 minutes. Bye. We'll see you guys. This whole segment right here is so bizarre. Like, I think it's cool, it's fine, but it's so short that I just find it almost odd. Black leather couch. See, again, like this whole, I think the design of this whole room is so interesting. I think it's really cool, but you're here for like a couple farts and then you're out. Take a little bit more time in here, put some puzzles. I feel like I'm in the Blood Titanic in here. I also question who she's calling out to for help within here. Really cool here. I want to just pause and get that. I love like the subtle lighting of the moonlight hitting the top of the chapel. But if you could just like imagine, give me a Resident Evil 1 remake with these visuals, man, out here in the woods. All right, it's Leon's time to shine. But this was a little cool set piece. Again, I think the boss fights in this game generally are done pretty well. There's the costume. We love that. Speaking of characters really quickly, I think overall they're all pretty good. Gideon's a little bit of a goofball. I think that Zeno is kind of lame. Either bring Wesker back or just find a different angle, find a new character to put in here. I think Grace is much better than like an Ethan Winters in terms of being a main protagonist. They're good. I like bringing Sherry back. I thought that was pretty cool. Let's do another one of these walking simulator segments of the game before we get our third segment of avoid the big stalker boss and do the puzzle, and if you get touched, you're basically dead. It's just too much. I will say this though, this section is at least, there's a lot of tension. Here's my favorite boss fight in the entire game. It's the classic Emily boss fight. Emily, you are a better character than Steve Burnside. And this takes us to Act 2 of the game, which is easily the lowest point of the game for me, personally, especially everything pre-RPD station. It almost feels like I'm playing like a tech demo for like The Last of Us Part 2, where all of the environments are just like these bland kind of like, you know, nuclear fallout-y type environments, uninspired, kind of boring. The only saving, redeeming quality, I think, is the spider fight. I think the spider fight's really cool. I was super happy that they brought back one of the more least popular boss fights that you'd see in the classic RE game. Super well done, though. I love that little chase sequence. All of this is really fun. The web's all over. Just feels like so nasty. Oh, Lord. Am I about to die here to these? Just generic. This is what I mean. It feels like, I don't know. And it could just be me, where I just don't find this segment to be terribly interesting. Now, luckily, like Leon's gunplay and like all the weapons and everything. It feels really fun to go through and like blast everybody, except for one rooftop segment, which when we get there, I will be sure to highlight it, but it's the worst part of the game. Okay, before I even attempt to do this, when I say least favorite part of the game, I am referring to this roof segment, because this segment is just painful to try to play through. It is painful to play through. Now, this segment right here, I think was pretty cool. Like, this definitely feels kind of inventive, and it's like an interesting little environmental puzzle. I'm gonna get shot by this dude, I think. Oh, a classic ride the elevator and shoot the enemies bit. I respect it though. I respect it. This is fine. This is fine. This feels very on brand for like a Leon game. I'm cool with this being in here. I wish I'd do a better job paying attention here. I'm sure that there are some Easter eggs that they've hidden along the way while you're riding this motorcycle, like maybe some familiar locations from RE2 or RE3. I would be surprised if there weren't at least one little Easter egg hidden in there. See how it instantly goes from just nondescript, boring buildings to, oh, instantly recognizable, memorable, meaningful. There's meaning behind the location here. Ooh, baby. Now this is a ruined environment that I want to explore. Like that, dude, that little like just ghostly remnant. I love how the game is like, oh, you just got to the RPD station, you love the music, you love the nostalgia and the vibes. Here's a walking simulator segment. These kind of segments where it's just hide, wait for the scripted thing to happen, go to the thing, pick up the item, and then use it. And if the enemy touches you, you die right away. For my money in 2026, that just feels kind of played out. And it quickly goes from horror to just super annoying. Easter egg for the Spencer Mansion, perhaps? Ooh, fire truck. Capcom, more of this. More of this kind of room. Because this is that cool shit. I think the lab is really cool. I think the nice thing about this lab is I like the very futuristic aesthetic that it has, paired with this kind of like lore building and whatnot is cool. We got these are the designer babies. But the lab is also not too long. It has like almost a perfect amount of time with each character. Oh, Mr. X. Love the design. It's the long way down. Okay, and now we enter into the lab section of the game. As I said previously, I think the lab is really well designed. It's not too short, it's not too long. It has some cool moments like the hunk fight, which a little annoying at times, but I love the Lickers coming back, hanging out in their freaking tanks. Super cool looking. You get to fight actual human being soldiers, which is fine. Now this is like something out of Westworld right here. Like, I love this kind of stuff. Like these set piece rooms. This one here I think is really freaking cool. This looks like some kind of bizarre yoga class where everybody just died because of how boring it was. Got it. Things like this here, like, dude. Just the overall atmosphere in this section is really, really cool. I mean, just look at this HD sinewy model. Another cool set piece room here. Again, the visuals of the lab, really impressive. It felt inventive to me as well. Like, this lab feels fresh. This room, I mean, just look at the carnage. This is what a Resident Evil lab fight in a set piece room should look like. It could just be a me thing, but these moments just kind of fall flat. And I wish that I didn't have to just hold W to walk down the hallway. They could just cutscene me. The whole storyline of Leon being sick, I think, was cool. It was nice to have one of our major characters put in some actual risk. Yeah, once more, It's hard to see environments like this and not just go, yeah, more of this stuff. But I'm always gonna favor the original, the horror soaked games. Like, I think the first half of Resident Evil 7 is essentially a perfect horror game. Let's go, baby. Get him out of here. Look at that. There it is, my first ever Insanity playthrough. Resident Evil 9 Requiem. This game is an easy A. Here are my highlights. The Rhodes Chronic Care Center is dope. The RPD station, very short but well executed. Ark, the laboratory, I think is perfect. The crafting system is really cool. I like the blood collection. All of the unique enemies in the Rhodes Center are awesome. I like the fact that the zombies have bits of their personal life coming back into their behavior, really neat. The Lickers are back, Mr. X, the Spider, Chunk, really cool enemies. All the weapons are nice. I like the upgrade system. I like that Leon gets like the Call of Duty treatment with the different attachments rather than just increasing like stats from a menu. I think they achieved a really nice balance trying to play two different games in one, where you have Leon, who is action driven, Grace is the slow RE7 style. Things that I thought were kind of meh. Nothing in this game is inherently bad, in my opinion, except for the rooftop with the BSAA zombies and their guns. That sucks. Everything else, here's my meh. Everything in Act 2 for Leon before the RPD station, it just feels like uninspired, generic. They were just trying to ride the coattails of Leon's gunplay and just being like, okay, the gunplay, the guns, shooting stuff is fun enough. We don't really have to break the bank in terms of designing this level. The orphanage segment, never mind. The orphanage segment it's not bad, but it's just a huge pace breaker. It's boring. I don't like replaying it over and over again. The music, again, look at the RBD station where they have this perfect balance between ambient music and the melody-driven, very forward music from the original games. We need more of that, Capcom. Stalker Fatigue is another one. I think they're fine. I'm just like kind of getting bored of the Stalker enemy segments. They're in every single modern RE game now. Maybe change it up a little bit. And then Xeno is the last thing on my meh. I think Xeno is like a huge just throwaway character. Like, just bring back Wesker if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, just like make someone new who doesn't look like the trickster from Dead by Daylight. And that's it. This game's rad. Love y'all.